You tap buy now, and that's it. Your order is placed, your card is charged, and somewhere hundreds of miles away, a machine begins to move. You don't think about it. You don't have to. The package will be at your door tomorrow, maybe even tonight. That's the magic of Amazon. Everything just works. But what does it take to make something this fast, this easy, this addictive? Behind the convenience is a system so big it's almost invisible. Millions of products, thousands of warehouses, and an algorithm that measures everything: time, distance, even the seconds it takes for a worker to pick an item from a shelf. Inside those warehouses, people race the clock. Every step is tracked. Every pause counts against them. Injuries happen. Exhaustion builds. And yet, the pace never slows down. Because it can't. The promise of next day delivery depends on it. Step outside those walls, and the impact is just as intense. Small businesses live or die by Amazon's rules. Sellers pay rising fees just to stay visible, while counterfeit products flood the marketplace faster than they can be removed. For customers, it still feels perfect, cheap, instant, reliable. But that perfection comes at a price that most people never see. Amazon didn't just change shopping, it changed behavior. It trained millions of people to expect everything instantly, to see waiting as a problem that needs fixing. The company doesn't just sell products, it sells time. And every time you buy, the machine learns a little more about what you want and how fast it needs to give it to you. This is the dark side of next day delivery. A story about power disguised as convenience, about a company that turned speed into control, and about what happens when the world forgets to ask how the miracle actually works. Once you understand what it takes to make buy now possible, it's hard to look at that button the same way again. The office is dim. The glow of a computer screen, the only light in the room. Papers are everywhere. Numbers scrawled across pages. A mess that only one person understands. Jeff Bezos leans forward, eyes locked on the data flashing before him. The internet is growing. Not slowly, not steadily, exploding. A research report sits open on his desk, showing a number that most people would ignore: 2,300% growth per year. That kind of acceleration doesn't happen by accident. It's a shift, a new world forming right in front of him. And in this new world, the first one to act will own everything. Most people don't see it yet. They are still shopping in stores, waiting in lines, driving from places to places as if nothing is changing. But Bezos knows better. He isn't guessing. He isn't dreaming. He is calculating. If people are moving online, they won't just browse, they will buy. But what? That's the question that will shape everything. So he makes a list. Music? Too much competition. Movies? Complicated licensing. Electronics? Logistics nightmare. Then he stops. Books. Books are perfect. They don't expire. They don't come in different sizes. And most importantly, no physical store on earth can carry every book ever printed. But a website has no walls. The decision is made. Sell books. Sell all of them. The next day, he walks into his boss's office. This isn't just any job. It's Wall Street, a career people spend their lives chasing. His boss listens to the plan, then asks the question everyone will ask. Selling books? On the internet? It sounds ridiculous. But Bezos has already made up his mind. He doesn't just believe this will work, he knows it will. He quits on the spot, leaves everything behind. The next morning, he and his wife, Mackenzie, pack up their old Chevy Blazer and start driving. The destination? Seattle. Not because it's home, not because of family, but because it's close to book distributors. If this business is going to work, shipping needs to be fast. They don't move into an office, they move into a garage. There's no staff, no investor banging down the door, just a computer, an internet connection, and a man who sees the future before anyone else. The company needed a name, something bold, something memorable. First, they landed on Cadabra, short for abracadabra. It had a certain magic to it, a sense of word, the illusion of something appearing out of thin air. It fit the vision, products arriving at doorsteps as if conjured by a spell. But then, a lawyer overheard it during a phone call. He paused, confused. Cadabra? He asked. It didn't sound like magic. It sounded like cadaver. Lifeless, cold, something that belonged in a morgue rather than a business meant to redefine shopping. That was the end of that. Bezos needed something stronger, something that evoked scale, power, and limitless growth. He flipped through a dictionary, stopping at a name that felt like destiny: Amazon. The largest river in the world, expansive, dominant, unstoppable. Just like the company he was about to build. Amazon.com goes live in 1995. The site is basic. No flashy design, no eye-catching graphics, just a catalog, a simple promise. Every book available to everyone. Then it happens. A single order flashes on the screen. A book titled Fluid Concepts and Creative Analogies. It isn't about what was sold. It's about what it means. The bell in the garage rings. A single chime. Then another. And another. At first, it's slow. A handful of orders a day. Then every hour. Then every minute. The machine is awakening. Amazon is no longer just an idea. It's real. It's alive. And it's already growing too fast. The garage is no longer enough. Books are stacked in every corner. Shipping labels clutter the table, and the constant ringing of the order bell turns into an overwhelming chorus. Every day, Bezos loads up his Chevy Blazer with shipments, racing to the post office before it closes. It's working, but it's slow. Amazon is growing faster than the system can handle. The orders are coming in quicker than they can be packed. Bezos sees it clearly. If Amazon doesn't scale, it will collapse under its own success. So he moves fast. They raise $8 million in funding, enough to move out of the garage and into something bigger. A warehouse. Not just a storage facility, but the first step in a logistics empire. The days of hand-picking books on a kitchen table are over. Amazon is becoming a machine. But even with the warehouse, the process is still too slow. Bezos needs people, but not just workers. He needs architects of speed. People who can think like him, work like him, build like him. People who don't believe in limits. He starts hiring engineers, logistics experts, programmers, the best and the brightest, but not the kind of people who want stability. He needs builders, people willing to tear down and rebuild the way things work from the ground up. The team is small at first, but the energy is relentless. They work brutal hours, testing, optimizing, pushing every process to its limits. Every second counts. A customer clicks buy, the system must react instantly. Bezos pushes harder. Decisions that take months at other companies, they make them in days. New ideas, they test them immediately. There is no waiting, there is no safety net. Speed is everything. But no matter how fast they move, it's never fast enough. By 1997, Amazon has grown into something no one expected. Tens of thousands of books are being shipped every day. The warehouse floors are packed with workers moving in a blur, racing to meet demand. But for Bezos, that isn't enough. Not even close. Amazon isn't just a bookstore anymore, and now it needs fuel.
What makes us different is vast selection, convenience, we deliver right to the desktop, and also the fact that we're the broadest discounters in the world. We discount over 300,000 titles, basically the best-selling titles. And those are, that's twice as many titles as the largest physical bookstore even offers.
They go public. Wall Street doesn't get it. A company that doesn't make a profit? A business model that burns cash faster than it earns? Investors laugh. But Bezos isn't here for the short-term win. He knows what they don't. Amazon was never about books. It was always about owning the customer's mind. The warehouses, the logistics, the technology, it's all leading to something bigger. For years, people walked into stores without thinking. They shopped the way their parents shopped, the way their grandparents shopped. Bezos is about to rewrite that instinct. Amazon isn't just a store, it's a habit, a reflex. And once people start buying from Amazon, they won't stop. The system is working. But there's still one problem. It isn't fast enough. The world is getting impatient. They don't want to wait a week for shipping. They don't even want to wait 3 days. Bezos sees what's coming. Speed is everything. And if Amazon can make shipping so fast that people don't even think about it anymore, then Amazon wins. He sits in a meeting, watching his team debate the next move. Faster shipping is expensive. It's complicated. The logistics don't exist. None of it matters. Bezos doesn't ask what's possible, he decides what's possible. 2-day shipping isn't enough. They need something bigger, something that will change how people shop forever. The answer is already forming in his mind. It's time to create the hook, something that locks customer in so completely that they never leave. Something that makes Amazon the default choice forever. Something that makes them pay for their own addiction. Prime. And with that, Amazon's next transformation begins. In 2005, Amazon was no longer just an online bookstore. It had become a behemoth, devouring market share across industries, growing at a speed no one had anticipated. Sales were soaring, product categories were expanding, and millions of people were now shopping from their homes. But Bezos wasn't satisfied. Growth wasn't enough. Dominance wasn't enough. He saw something in the numbers. Buried deep in Amazon's data, a pattern emerged. Customers who received free shipping didn't just order more often, they spent more money. A lot more. They weren't just shopping, they were committing to Amazon as their go-to store. And that gave Bezos an idea. What if free shipping wasn't just a perk? What if it was a trap? One that kept customers logged into the Amazon ecosystem. Free shipping was powerful, but giving it away for nothing? That wasn't the way. Instead, make them pay for it. It was a move that defied logic. Charge customers upfront to make them spend even more money. It sounded crazy, but Bezos wasn't guessing. He was engineering loyalty. Amazon Prime was born. For $79 a year, customers got unlimited 2-day shipping on millions of products. No extra costs, no calculations at checkout. Just click, buy, and wait 2 days. The reaction was instant. Membership numbers exploded. Prime wasn't just a service, it was a psychological shift. Customers who had already paid for shipping felt obligated to use it over and over again. The more they ordered, the more they justified their membership fee. The more they justified it, the more they bought from Amazon instead of anywhere else. It wasn't just a loyalty program, it was an addiction. But there was a problem. Amazon didn't have the infrastructure to support it. Again, it felt small and slow. The warehouses weren't fast enough. The logistics weren't optimized. The system wasn't built for millions of people suddenly expecting their orders at lightning speed. And when Amazon promised 2-day delivery to every Prime customer, the pressure was on. Warehouses were flooded with new orders. Shipping costs skyrocketed. Packages that were once sent in a week now had to be packed, sorted, and shipped out in a matter of hours. The system wasn't ready. But failure wasn't an option. Bezos did what he always did. He pushed. Amazon needed more warehouses, and not just in a few key locations. It needed an entire network, a web of fulfillment centers that could handle millions of shipments a day. It needed more people, more workers who could move fast, meet quotas, and keep up with a demand curve that never plateaued. It needed more automation, robots, algorithms, and logistics software that could predict demand before customers even placed their orders. Amazon Prime was the hook, but the machine behind it, that was the real innovation. Inside Amazon, Prime wasn't seen as just a membership program, it was the ultimate behavioral experiment. One designed to make customers spend, to train them to expect their packages faster and faster. And once people got used to 2-day shipping, they would never want to wait again. Which led to the next question. Why 2 days? Why not 1? That was the moment everything changed yet again. Because 2-day delivery was never the final goal. It was the stepping stone. The shift from 2-day to next day wasn't just about speed. It was about setting a new expectation, a new normal. Once customers got a taste of near instant shipping, waiting for anything longer would feel unacceptable. But making that happen, that would cost something big. Bezos had changed shopping forever. Amazon Prime was a psychological shift. It rewired customer expectations, making 2-day shipping feel like a basic right rather than a premium service. At once, people got used to it. There was no turning back. But 2 days wasn't enough. The next step was already forming in Bezos' mind. Next day shipping. Same day shipping. The goal wasn't just speed. It was to make waiting unacceptable. But to do that, Amazon needed something else. A workforce that moved as fast as the system demanded. A logistics empire so vast, so efficient, that customers wouldn't even question how their orders arrived at their doorsteps hours after clicking buy. And that's when the real pressure began. The promise of ultra-fast delivery wasn't built on technology alone. It was built inside the warehouses, where the reality of Amazon's empire was far from the convenience customers experienced on their screens. A warehouse the size of 15 football fields. No windows, no clocks, just endless rows of shelves stretching into infinity. The air is thick with the scent of cardboard, plastic, and sweat. Fluorescent lights hum overhead, casting a harsh, artificial glow over the maze of conveyor belts and storage racks. And in the middle of it all, people, workers, moving, scanning, packing, the heartbeat of Amazon. The moment you step inside, you feel it. The pace, the urgency, the pressure. This is no longer a workplace. It's a machine that never stops. Every second matters. Every movement counts. Every mistake is costly. At first, it seems manageable. A simple task. Pick an item, scan it, place it in the right bin. Repeat over and over again. But then, the numbers start climbing. Pick 100 items an hour, then 200, then 300. The targets keep rising, and no matter how fast you move, it's never enough. The system tracks your every motion. Your handle scanner times how long it takes you to grab an item and move to the next one. You are being watched, not by a person, but by the algorithms controlling the flow of the warehouse. There's no room for error. If you slow down, you get a warning. If you stop, even for a second, your numbers drop. And if your numbers drop, you are out. No one says it directly, no one has to. The message is clear. Workers push themselves harder. They run between shelves, ignoring the ache in their legs, the sweat pooling at the base of their spine. There are no chairs, no places to rest. Sitting is wasted time. Time that could be spent scanning, picking, packing. Breaks exist on paper, not in reality. Lunch is 30 minutes. That includes the time it takes to walk to the break room, which could be on the other side of the warehouse. By the time you get there, you might have 10 minutes to eat, maybe less. And if you are a second late getting back, it's logged. Bathroom breaks? A luxury. The warehouse is massive and the restrooms are few. Walking there takes precious minutes. Minutes that the system sees as unproductive. Some workers try to hold it in. Some rush through their tasks, hoping to make up lost time. Some don't even bother. The pressure is relentless. The pace is inhuman. Then someone stumbles. A misstep on the hard concrete. A knee buckles. A worker goes down. A twisted ankle. A pulled muscle. A slip on a conveyor belt. The warehouse doesn't stop. The scanners keep beeping. The conveyor belts keep rolling. A supervisor walks over, doesn't kneel, doesn't help. Just checks the numbers and they are ahead. Are they ahead? Are they behind? The fallen worker is escorted out. A replacement is called in because in this place, people are numbers. And numbers don't get tired, but bodies do. Backs strain under the weight of lifting hundreds of boxes a day. Hands cramp from gripping scanners too tightly for too long. Knees ache from constant bending, stretching, reaching. And still, the targets increase. Someone else collapses. The heat, the exhaustion, the endless repetition. They try to stand but can't. Paramedics are called. Not the first time, won't be the last. Workers whisper about ambulances stationed outside, about people carted off mid-shift. Some come back, some don't. But there is always someone else ready to take their place. Because for every worker who burns out, there's another desperate for a job. For Amazon, the system works. For the people inside it, that's another story. And yet, no one quits. Because leaving means giving up a paycheck. It means starting over. It means uncertainty. And Amazon knows this. So they push harder. Faster. Always faster. The workers adapt. They stop thinking about the pain. They stop questioning the rules. They become part of the machine. And the machine, it never slows down. The machines didn't stop. Not for a moment. Inside Amazon's warehouses, the relentless pace of picking, packing, and shipping never slowed down. Workers adapted, or they fell behind. And if they fell behind, they were replaced. The system demanded speed, precision, endurance, not just from technology, but from human bodies. But bodies weren't designed to work like machines. The toll was real. The injuries were mounting. And outside the warehouse walls, the world was starting to take notice. For years, reports painted a disturbing picture of what it really took to fuel Amazon's relentless efficiency. In the United Kingdom alone, emergency services were called to Amazon warehouses more than 1,400 times over a 5-year span. Ambulances arrived to treat everything from chest pains to strokes, not random incidents, but the kinds of medical emergencies that don't just happen, they build up. The GMB Trade Union, a UK-based labor organization advocating for workers' rights, called it evidence of brutal working conditions. Amazon dismissed it, claiming the numbers were misleading. With thousands of workers across their warehouses, wasn't it natural for incidents to occur? Wasn't this part of the numbers? But numbers don't tell the full story. Across the Atlantic, US regulators took a closer look. What they found was alarming. Warehouse employees, pushed to move faster and lift heavier loads, were developing serious injuries at a rate far above the industry standard. Lower back injuries, muscle strains, the kind of damage that doesn't heal overnight, the kind that lingers. OSHA, the US Occupational Safety and Health Administration, stepped in. Amazon was cited for unsafe working conditions, economic hazards, and failure to properly report injuries. This wasn't an isolated case, it was a pattern. Amazon responded the way it always did. It agreed to implement safety measures across its warehouses, adjustable workstations, ergonomic training. It even settled by paying $145,000 in penalties. But a fine was just a number. A study revealed that 41% of Amazon warehouse employees reported being injured on the job. But it didn't stop there. 69% said they took unpaid time off because the pain was unbearable. And more than half admitted they were completely burnt out. But they had no choice but to keep going. In 2020, the numbers became impossible to ignore. Amazon's warehouses injury rate stood at 6.5 per 100 full-time employees, more than double the rate at Walmart. The question wasn't whether injuries happened, it was why they happened so often at Amazon. The pace, the pressure, the relentless push for speed. Every efficiency comes at a cost. Every faster delivery took a toll on the people making it happen. And yet, the demand for speed kept growing. And so did the risk. Let's pause for a moment. In today's fast-paced world, success isn't just about working hard. It's about staying ahead, solving complex problems, and delivering real results. Whether you are navigating business challenges, optimizing processes, or driving innovation, having the right skills is what sets you apart. That's where Advanced Innovation Group Pro Excellence, popularly known as AIGPE, comes in. We offer globally recognized certifications designed to elevate your expertise in process improvement, quality management, and business strategy. Our Six Sigma certifications, White Belt, Yellow Belt, Green Belt, and Black Belt empower professionals to master operational excellence. Plus, we provide specialized training in lean methodologies, Minitab analytics, project management, AI, and quality specializations, equipping you with practical skills you can apply immediately. AIGPE certifications are CPD accredited, and we are an authorized training partner of the Project Management Institute. We are also the recertification provider of choice for the Society for Human Resource Management or SHRM, making our programs a valuable asset for your career growth. Whether you are an individual looking to advance or an organization seeking to upskill teams, AIGPE's courses provide industry-recognized expertise that drives results. And here's the best part. These programs from AIGPE are incredibly affordable. You can gain cutting-edge expertise for less than the cost of your daily coffee. Get started today. Click the link in the description to explore. Now, let's get back to our video.
There is a major uptick in high-profile union organizing. The latest one formed was at an Amazon warehouse in New York. A small group of workers managed to form a union here, Amazon's first union at any warehouse in the United States. The battle was a David versus Goliath one. Amazon is one of the fiercest anti-union companies in America. Since its inception, Amazon has been against unions. Reports even suggest it spent over $4 million last year on labor consultants, those who help persuade workers to not join unionization efforts.
The relentless pace inside Amazon's warehouses was already taking a toll, but for many workers, the grueling conditions weren't the only concern. It wasn't just about speed, injuries, or exhaustion. It was about having a voice that Amazon didn't seem eager to listen to. In Coventry, that frustration boiled over. For months, workers had been pushing back, fighting for something they believed they deserved. A union, a say, a chance to demand better conditions. The vote came down to the wire. A defeat by just 28 votes. So close, too close, but something changed. At first, it was subtle. New policies, new rules, productivity targets quietly adjusted. The definition of non-productive time suddenly expanded. The workers who had been most vocal about unionizing found themselves under a microscope. 60 of them. They were being watched. Every movement tracked. Every pause questioned. A trip to the bathroom was now a mark against them. A moment's delay because of a faulty scanner counted as wasted time. Warnings started appearing in inboxes, one after the other. The message was clear. Slow down, fall behind, make trouble, and you might not be there tomorrow. Amazon denied everything. The company insisted it didn't track union members and had no record of who was involved in the vote. It claimed to support its employees and that disciplinary actions had nothing to do with union efforts. But inside Coventry, the whispers had already started. The workers knew what was happening. They could feel it. The ones who had spoken up before were now silent. The ones still standing talked in hushed voices, careful about what they said, careful about who might be listening. They had seen what happened to the others. They knew they could be next. Amanda Gearing, one of the union organizers, wasn't convinced by Amazon's denials. She believed this wasn't just about cutting underperforming employees or making operations more efficient. This was about power, about control, a way to send a message without ever saying the words out loud. A survey conducted within the warehouse revealed that 81% of workers were unhappy with their working conditions. 81%? Nearly the entire workforce. But Amazon had its own numbers. It claimed that 89% of Coventry employees would recommend Amazon as a great place to work. Two completely different stories, two conflicting realities. The question was, which one was the truth? Had Amazon found a way to quietly push out the loudest voices while still maintaining its clean image? Was this just another case of efficiency, optimization, business as usual? Or was it something deeper, something calculated? Because if there's one thing Amazon has always been good at, it's making problems disappear. The battle inside Amazon's warehouses was about workers demanding a voice. But outside those walls, an even bigger war was brewing. One that had nothing to do with bathroom breaks or exhausting quotas. This was about power. The kind of power that doesn't just dominate an industry but controls it entirely. For years, Amazon had positioned itself as the champion of low prices, fast delivery, and endless choices. But regulators were starting to see something different. Beneath the sleek interface and smiling boxes was something far more calculated. An empire that didn't just compete but crushed everything in its path. The Federal Trade Commission, along with 17 state attorneys general, saw it as more than just a business success story. In September 2023, they took aim at Amazon, accusing it of rigging the system in its favor. They called it a monopoly, a giant disguised as a marketplace. At the core of the lawsuit was a simple but damning accusation. Amazon wasn't just winning, it was making sure no one else could. Sellers who dared to offer lower prices on other platforms found their products buried in Amazon's search results, invisible to customers. It was an ultimatum: raise prices or disappear. To the outside world, Amazon seemed like the best place for deals. But behind the scenes, it was a controlled marketplace where prices weren't dictated by competition but by Amazon itself. There was also Prime. For millions of customers, it was the best deal in shopping. Lightning fast shipping, exclusive deals, effortless convenience. But for sellers, it was a trap. The only way to qualify for Prime, to reach those millions of loyal customers, was to use fulfillment by Amazon. It didn't matter if sellers had their own warehouses, their own logistics network. If they wanted visibility, they had to pay Amazon. And those fees weren't small. Amazon took its cut at every step: storage, shipping, advertising. For many sellers, profits shrank, but they had no alternative. Without Amazon, they were invisible. The company denied everything. It claimed its practices were good for customers, that its logistics network made e-commerce faster, cheaper, and better. It painted itself as an innovator, not a monopolist. But regulators weren't backing down. In October 2024, a federal judge allowed the lawsuit to move forward, sending a clear signal: this wasn't going away. Amazon, of course, had been here before. It had faced scrutiny, investigation, and massive fines. It had paid settlements, made adjustments, and kept growing. But this time, the stakes were different. This was more than only fines or regulations. It was about the future of online shopping. Could Amazon be forced to change? Would sellers finally get control over their own prices? Could customers ever truly shop in a competitive marketplace again? Or was this just another battle Amazon was destined to win? Because if history had proven anything, it was that Amazon didn't lose. It adapted. It evolved. It found new ways to dominate. And no matter what the courts decided, one thing was certain: the machine wouldn't stop. Amazon's power over the market was neither only about competition, nor was it about pushing out rivals or controlling prices. There was something else, something happening within Amazon's own walls, a battle over trust. While regulators were challenging its dominance, another crisis was unfolding. One that didn't just affect businesses but everyday consumers. Amazon built its empire on trust. Millions of people click buy now every single day, believing that what arrives on their doorstep is real. That the book they are reading, the skincare they are applying, the electronics they are using are exactly what they paid for. But what happens when that trust is shattered? Behind the easy interface and endless product selection, a counterfeit war is raging. In 2023 alone, Amazon removed over 7 million counterfeit items from its supply chain, an alarming increase from the 6 million removed in 2022. The numbers keep climbing, and the battle isn't slowing down. To fight back, Amazon has poured $1.2 billion into its anti-counterfeiting efforts, assembling a 15,000-person army dedicated to hunting down fraudulent sellers. This isn't just a few bad listings, it's a full-scale operation, one that led to over 21,000 counterfeiters being pursued through lawsuits and criminal referrals. But despite these efforts, the fakes keep slipping through. For authors, the nightmare is personal. When Jane Friedman, a respected writer, discovered books under her name that she never wrote, she was stunned. They looked real, had her name on the cover, and were listed alongside her actual work. But they weren't hers. These weren't just pirated copies, they were AI-generated forgeries. When she tried to remove them, she hit a wall. Amazon wouldn't take them down. There was no quick fix, no easy way to prove she didn't write them. It took a public outcry, articles, tweets, a wave of outrage for Amazon to finally act. But the damage had been done. And this isn't just happening to authors. In October 2023, Nintendo found itself in a fight against counterfeiters selling fake amiibo cards and game cartridges on Amazon. The numbers were staggering. Over $2.3 million worth of fraudulent Nintendo products had been sold before anyone caught on. When Amazon and Nintendo took legal action, the sellers vanished, refusing to respond to the lawsuit. Now, Amazon and Nintendo are seeking over $7 million in damages, but the counterfeiters, they are already gone. For companies, counterfeit goods are a financial hit. For consumers, they are a trap. The luxury handbag, fake leather, the certified skincare product, a cheap knockoff that could be dangerous. Even electronics, the ones labeled with brand names and professional packaging, could be filled with counterfeit parts that fail within weeks. Amazon is fighting back, but the reality is clear. This war isn't over. For every counterfeit seller shut down, another pops up. For every fake product removed, more slip through the cracks. And for every customer who thinks they have scored a deal, there's a chance they have just paid for something that isn't real. The counterfeit crisis was just one piece of a much larger puzzle. While regulators fought to rein in Amazon's power and sellers struggled to compete in a rigged marketplace, a different kind of transformation was happening. One that changed the way people thought about shopping itself. Because Amazon's greatest achievement isn't just building the largest online store in history, it is something deeper, more insidious. It rewires habits. It reshapes expectations. It turns speed into something more than a convenience. It makes it a necessity. Amazon changes everything. It rewires the way people shop, turning convenience into an expectation and expectation into an addiction. One click, 2-day shipping, next day, same day, speed becomes the drug and Amazon is the dealer. And while customers marvel at the magic of instant delivery, they do not see what powers it. the endless warehouses, the relentless quotas, the workers pushed to the edge, the machine that never stops running. The promise of faster and faster shipping doesn't just demand efficiency, it demands sacrifice. A workforce stretched to its breaking point. Sellers trapped in a system they can't escape. A marketplace so vast and powerful that it dictates the rules, crushing anyone who tries to compete. And even as the world asks questions, as lawsuits pile up, as labor revolts spark, as regulators move in, Amazon only moves faster. Because at the end of the day, the customers don't slow down. They want their packages and they want them now. That's the dark side of the next day delivery. It isn't just about speed, it's about control. Control over the market, control over business, control over the very idea of waiting. And once Amazon makes waiting unacceptable, it's already too late. I hope you found the story of Amazon as fascinating as it is shocking, but the drama doesn't stop here. If you are ready for another explosive business story, check out this video right over there. I'll meet you there in just a second. Cheers.